Hello, everybody, and welcome to our second meet of the ACM Teams Europe. I am super excited to be here, and I hope that you are too. So let's have a look at the agenda for today, and then we'll get started with lots of interesting and exciting content. Okay. So this is our second time. We are really glad to have you here and hope that you will keep on coming back. So it's the 20th of October and we're here 16 set as we always are. The agenda for today will be a short welcome from me, so this is it. Please be sure to follow our website, make sure to follow us on Twitter, and we love for you to reach out and have comments and ideas. We just think that's super exciting. So today we will have two different sessions. We will have ADKAR, why and how, and this will be a really super simple and not deep dive. We just want to make sure that everybody is on the same page when it comes to ADKAR. So here we will have Alexander, Karoliina, and Michael discuss ADKAR, the basic ones. And then we will have a session by Edyta, which will cover design thinking tools to drive your ACM Teams projects better. A nice two different topics, right? I think so, at least. And you know who we are, but just to give you a warm welcome one more time, the people behind this group, it's Karoliina we have Alexander Eggers, it's me, Amanda Sterner, we have Michael Roth, and we have Edyta Gorson. And I think that's about it for me. So now it's time for our first session. Let's get started.
Yeah, so hello and welcome for this second edition. And our first slot for today is the basics of the ATKA model. And just write in the comments your questions and, of course, where are you looking from? From Europe, where are you sitting and watching us? And while you type in, I will show you some facts about the ATKA model. Well, the ADKAR model is something that we had from the ProSci colleagues, the 5 building blocks of successful change. This is something that you can hang on when you think about adopting and doing a change in a company. And we use this also very good for our team's adoptions. This is a very good line where you can hang on. And as Amanda said, we want to have a small, brief overview. So it's possible to talk about this topic, I think, 3 days. So, and we do it in 15 minutes, of course. And so if you're interested in to hear more about this, it's no problem. So just give us some questions, or maybe we have one more session in the next events that are coming up. So first of all, what is ADKAR? ADKAR is short form for the 5 main topics: awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. And I will talk about awareness and desire first, and then comes Karoliina about knowledge and ability, and Michael. As you noticed, Michael is not attending this session today. He has recorded his part of reinforcement, so we'll see a video at the end for this. So I will come to the next slide, and I want to talk about the awareness. Awareness, it is very important that the users know that and are aware that the change must happen. And of course, why it has to happen. It is not exactly that the users need to know that there will be a change. It is very important that they understand why this change will happen, and it must be. So this is a very important part. As you may notice or recognize, what have we done in pharma times, in IT, we always start with knowledge, with trainings. So there's a new tool and here's the training. So have a look at it. And in many times I recognized, of course, now I know because of Atka, that people come to these trainings and they don't know why they are sitting there. So the why is missing. And it's very important to have this in the first line. So tell them why. As an example, when somebody tells you drive a detour, so don't go the straight way as you go to maybe your work every day with your car. And he says, no, don't drive through this way. You always drive a larger way, a bigger way around it to come to your work. Then you might ask him, why? Why should I drive a detour? And when he does not explain you that maybe you go the right way, the way you always drive, because you don't know why you should drive the detour. And when you see there's an accident and the road is closed, then it would be much easier to know that before. So you would drive the detour. So this person has to tell you why you should drive a detour. Or when your partner is telling you that you should lose weight, maybe you know why he says that, and you maybe know also what is the consequence of this when you don't lose weight. But it helps you when he maybe says, okay, please lose weight because I will lose this relationship then, because I don't like it how you look. So it's always something like you have to tell why. And when the responsible persons come to you and say, okay, we start with Teams now, maybe the users ask why. You have to explain them why you want to use this new tool or why you have to use this new tool. And this is very important. And so how can we do this? Just some more points on this. We have, of course, the sponsors, the boss, it depends on how big this company is, who has to show the vision. What is the strategy for using this solution? We always have this in adopting Office 365 because we have so many tools in there, but especially in Teams, we have to talk, or the sponsor has to talk to the people and explain them why do we want to use Teams for communications or whatever the use case is. Why do we want to use this solution? And he has to explain it to the people. And it's very important that the sponsor does this, not the consultant. So it's a big part of talking a lot and listening a lot, because we have to listen to the people to understand this. And as I wrote down here, I have sometimes people sitting in the workshops with tears in their eyes, and they're talking to me and say, oh, you want to take away Outlook, and I don't want to use Teams. I'm used to use Outlook, and I don't want to miss this. And they're crying. So it's very important to talk to the people and explain them what is happening here, and of course why. The why is the very important part in here. And maybe you know Simon Sinek. Start with the why. You can see the QR code here, or just watch it on YouTube. It's very, very famous, and he explains how big companies are so good in what they do, because they explain why they do something. So the why is very important. I think this is the last slide, for awareness. And maybe Karoliina, you have also a part of it. You did also the ProPsych course, I think. So what is your opinion about the awareness? Do you have any more ideas on this?
Yeah, I think the awareness is very good question to start with why. And especially you have to think about what's in it for me. So the why might be different for managers. It might be different for employees in the field and employees in the office. So it's also good to answer to the why question for lots of different employee groups. And you have the word sponsor in the slide. So actually ProPsych talks very much about sponsors, and they are talking about like management sponsors, and you have to get some sponsor to support your change from the upper management. And that's also an interesting topic. It's also maybe a bit culture related. For example, in Finland, I don't know if it would be such an important topic, but I think for our next session in November, when we are talking about maybe about some differences in user adoption in European countries, the sponsor topic also might be something we could look into later on. Alex, you're on mute.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry I was on mute. Too much things to handle for me here. Okay, so it's talking about desire is the next part. This is a very nice part, because here we try to engage the users, so they want this change. They want to implement the change. They want to be part of the change. This is pretty cool, because first of all, the users are mainly a little bit with fear, and they don't want this change. And we are doing a little trick here, because we are showing them what might be possible, because we ask them what are the main problems in your daily life, in your daily work. Of course, not searching for a free space for your car. It's mainly because of communications and how is the process. And they always find something what is not so good. And we take this part, what is not so good in their daily work, and we show their vision, how it may be a better solution there, how they can better work, get faster answers, and what is the main pain point. And so they say, okay, if you can do this for me, this might be a great idea. I could work much better. And so we leave them alone with this. And so they start asking, so when do we implement this change? Because you told me this is much easier for me, and I will get faster my work done. So they want to have it. And this is what we talk about when we talk about the desire. So what's in for me and inspire then what could happen. And so how do we do this? We call it the use case shopping. So we just show, we want to find the main pain points, as I just said, and we get them up, we put them on a list, and we talk with the users about it. And so this is one part of desire. It's also internal marketing. I'm a big fan of internal marketing, because we have to sell the idea to the users. And as we do selling out in outside of our organization to customers, we have to sell it to the people, to the users in our company. And so I have two more slides just to show you how we do this. We are using T-shirts for the champions, for example, so they find it really cool to be part of the system. We have lots of swag, what we are using, stickers, and you can buy all the stuff in the official ACM, not in the official Teams swag store for Microsoft. Well, it's a big problem to get them to Europe. Well, you have to send them a UPS sticker, but they will do it. And here we go with some swags types what you can use. And what we also have, email templates, posters, everything you do in internal marketing, what you can think of. And maybe it's a little bit different to other things what you do, but especially talking about Teams and Office 365, it helps to get the people aware of this change, and also to get this desire, what we need. Because then they come, and we will see the next thing is the training. They will come to the training and say, we're starting with it now, talking about 3 or 4 months or 6 months, and now we can start with it, and they are happy to be there. So this is the part that works before the training comes: awareness and desire. So Karoliina, what you say? What is your part in your workshop with your customers? How are you doing desire? Are you also doing internal marketing stuff?
Yeah, we depending on the organization, we have used, for example, Yammer, so advertising in Yammer, or yes, we have also used email templates. Even though, for example, if we are implementing Teams to our organization, we usually want to get rid of emails. But in this case, emails can work as well. But one super cool and simple thing that maybe doesn't work at the moment that well is that you can print out posters. So you can print out like just say letter paper sized posters about new Teams features or something cool, and then glue those posters to your water cooler or coffee machine or where people gather. So at the moment, not that convenient because people gather at their homes. But maybe besides of the printed posters, you could, for example, utilize Teams backgrounds. So you can have some kind of background in your Teams meeting that has the logo of your user capture campaign or some like tip of the week on top of the background.
Pretty cool idea, yeah. Great. Okay, so when I look at the time, I have to switch to the next slide. So Karoliina, should I do the slides more for you? Just tell me when I have to change slides.
Yeah, I can talk and you can yes, change slides. But okay. So K is for knowledge, and as Alex said, knowledge is for trainings. And basically here you can say I have written that it's all about technical trainings, but also knowledge can be knowledge about change. For example, you can teach people how to change or teach people something about how to get to the why part. So most of the times, knowledge is just simple Teams technical trainings, what we do like all the time. And of course, you can do many kinds of technical trainings. You can do classroom trainings. You can do live trainings, online trainings, use videos, use materials, PowerPoints, PDFs. So you have lots of different variety where you can train your people. But one good tip I'll share in here is that people knowledge skills vary a lot. So we have people that are not at all familiar with the new technology. So people who can't even use cell phones or mobile phones. And then we have those people who can go to anywhere in Office 365 and go to Power Apps and create the first Power App before the other person has even logged into Teams. So the gap is quite large, and then you have to determine some kind of baseline, and you want to get everyone in the same base level to get started with. Next slide, please. Awesome. So here are some links. I think Alex will also copy paste them to our chat in here. So Microsoft has lots of free resources you can use. So if you are speaking English, I think the resources are pretty great. For example, for some smaller languages like Finnish in here or Swedish for you, Amanda, the resources are maybe not that awesome, but there are lots of videos, lots of introductions, lots of sessions you can utilize for free from Microsoft. So there is no need to maybe use hours and hours for preparing training materials or training courses. So always check first if there is something already available. Great. And this is maybe one of my favorite topics, because maybe, as you know, I'm all about user adoption. And in the last couple of years, where customers have come and talked to me, they are asking for technical trainings. But when we really want to utilize teams or develop teamwork in our organization, it's so much more than just the technical trainings. So if this whole ADKAR model is totally foreign to you at the moment, so if this is like your first touch point to the ADKAR model, I think this is one of the main points you might want to remember after this one. So when you are thinking of user adoption, the technical trainings, so the K knowledge, is only one in the 5 different letters or steps on the way to successful Teams implementation. Next slide. Awesome. Alex, did you have anything you wanted to add about knowledge?
Yes, especially what you said is, I just want to underline that it's so a big problem to explain customers that we don't start with trainings. I think this is so important. And this is what I've seen always a problem. I've just been at a customer yesterday, and they started with trainings, and half a year later they have a big problem. They have a big mess in their teams, because so many things have not been said before and the awareness was not there. So I just want to underline how important it is that you start training in a later part, or it's just, as you said, one part of 5 steps you have to take. Yeah.
Awesome. And then when we have the knowledge, so we have the technical understanding of what we can do, for example, in Teams, what we can do in Planner, we can move on to our A, another A, which is ability. And if the knowledge was enabling the change technically, so ability is engaging the people to the change. And this is really where the magic happens. So this is all the unicorns and rainbows and everything, because the ability part is where the change really comes real and possible for the employees. So if you have told them why I should change and told them what's in it for me, and then they have the knowledge to do those steps, in the ability part, they really can implement the change in their everyday work life. And we have this gap between the knowledge and ability. So it might be that you have like watched all the different Teams videos you can find from YouTube. So you technically know how to use Teams. So what button to press and when. But you may not have the ability to utilize Teams for teamwork. And the common problem at the moment, when so many organizations have taken Teams and just like go and use, please. So the problem is that people know how to push those buttons, but their conception of teamwork is mostly chatting in Teams, having meetings in Teams, and maybe some file storage in Teams. And the whole teamwork aspect, the whole like the ability is missing. So coach the new ways of working, the same way you did training the technical trainings. And then it's always a great idea to have some kind of internal references, for example, showcasing that, hey, this project or this team has used Teams in this way, and it works perfectly. Right. And actually, when we soon we'll go to Edyta session. So design thinking is a great method what you can utilize in the ability section of ADKAR, because with the design thinking methods, you can take the knowledge part and really utilize it in concrete ways to take the knowledge into action. Awesome. Do you have, Alex, anything to say about ability before we are going to Michael's part?
Only one example, maybe that is much easier to understand the problem of the gap from knowledge and ability. And I like the example the ProSci boys, the guys use. It's about playing golf. And it's very easy to have a training on how to play golf. And as you may play golf, you know what I mean. I can show you in 1 hour how you have to hold the slide and how you do this swing. But it is a very big difference to knowing how this is working and that you can play, because you have to train this a lot. And this will not work in the first second. Just because you know how to hold this, it's not working. So this is the ability, the gap between knowledge and ability. So one thing is you know it, and the other thing is you can do it. So I just want to underline this once more. So yeah, so we talk with Michael now, correct? Okay, it's Michael Parr, and I have to introduce Michael because he will not be here, and he has done a video. I have 2 videos because they are too long. And turn on your your speakerphone. I don't know if it's not loud enough, so please volume up, and I will show you the video right now for this part of reinforcement.
Okay, hey everybody, nice to be here, kind of. I guess the others told you already, since we live in a COVID world, we had a COVID incident at the daycare of my daughter, so it is closed at the moment. So if you are hearing this right now, I'm gonna be around my kids and get them from a play date, so I can't be here in person, but of course, I still want to share my knowledge with you and work with the others together. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of the 5th step of the ADKAR model, reinforcement. So what is reinforcement? By now, you have already known or get the idea what are the other 4 steps like: awareness, desire, knowledge, and ability. And reinforcement is the last step, and it's I don't want to say the most important. I guess they are all pretty much important, but this one is something I think, if I'm going to explain this, most of you can relate the problem that reinforcement is going to address. And I really like this quote I found here. So while making a change is difficult, sustaining a change can be even more difficult. And let's explain this with an everyday example I guess all of you can relate to. Not only in January, but say you're going to start a new hobby, and you want to make a new hobby. Oh my God, come on, a new hobby. So, and you want to make this hobby a habit. Let's say you want to do something for your health. Let's say you want to start jogging. And I guess most of you know this. At the beginning, you are super excited, you are super motivated, because you are aware of the positive benefits you can get from doing more sports. You have the desire because maybe you have friends who told you of how great they feel after a good run. And you have the knowledge and the ability to make that work, so you start running. And after week 1, let's say after week 2, you are still motivated and excited, but after a while, your excitement, let's say, it lowers a little bit. So your motivation sinks and your legs hurt, you don't see the results at the first, and now it's getting complicated. And the question now is, and I guess you all know that, how to sustain this change, how to reinforce, how to make this habit stick. And well, I see it like this. You have like 2 opportunities. You could say you can stay motivated all the time, however you do that, or you can make it easy to do the right thing. And I think going for a run, make it a new hobby, running a new hobby is a pretty good example, because I guess most of you experience something like that. There are many good tips and tricks how to sustain go for a run and how to keep this habit alive and healthy. It's like put out your running shoes every morning, so that every morning you go out of bed, you see your running gear, and so it's easy to just jump into the shoes and go for a run. If you have to, like, I don't know, go in the basement, get your sports gear together, then drive to the gym, that makes it difficult to really throw in a workout session. But if your sports gear is waiting for you at let's say at the breakfast table, then it's easy to think about, yeah, I wanted to go for a run, and you can put on your dress and your shoes right there and start right away. So it is easy to go for it. And that's what you want to do. You want to make it easy with every change, especially on the job, for everybody to do the right thing. And you want to create a supportive environment. And there are a few possibilities and that you have to create an environment, and I'm going to list a few here. And for example, you could work with regular celebrations. If your team changed something, made something new, and used a new tool or created a new habit, whatever, make sure that everybody knows that and knows the value and the benefit for it. And let's be honest, celebrate yourself. You don't have to throw a party like every week, but you have to acknowledge the change, and that is good. So it's the same with rewards and recognition and feedback. If you keep this change or the new habit that you just created a topic in your organization and the topic within the heads of your user, then it's easier to not forget it and to not let it like sink in. As well as corrective actions and visible performance measurements. If you have like I don't know, a scoreboard where you keep track of this behavior, or like your sales numbers, depends on what you've changed, then it's easy to not forget that habit and that new change, the new behavior you've just introduced. And accountability mechanism is always great. Let's switch back to the running example once again. If you're going to tell your friends, are you going for a run every day, and you ask them, please, could you remind me, or at least be a little bit disappointed in me if I don't do that, then it's easier for you to really go for a run. And that's reinforcement. That's pretty important. How to sustain a change that you've made. I wish you plenty of fun with the next information and the discussion panels, and hope you have a great session. Next time I'll be there with you live once again. So long, take care, bye.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Alex, you're on mute.
I'm not used to mute myself. Okay, so that was great, Michael. And Karoliina, any additions on this you want to add?
Yeah, we're also chatting in the comments that the praise function in Teams is a pretty quick and fun and inclusive way to utilize, to celebrate victories for everyone in Teams.
Yeah, I also think that as you read my post yesterday, I told everybody, party hard when you get a milestone. This is very important. So what we have here, Tammy, no to the customizable praise badges soon. Yeah, well, they come, I think. Huh? Okay, so that was the Atka why and how session. Thank you very much. And we are switching to the next session. Well, Edyta, I think it's your part, and you have to share your screen, please.
Yeah, I'm sharing, because sharing is caring. All right, hopefully you can see my screen. Can you just confirm?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. All right. What a great panel discussion, guys. Great, especially with Michael, that despite of not being here, he was able to share his experience. All right. So welcome to my part, design thinking tools to drive your adoption, change management teams projects better. And today I would like to share my experience about design thinking methods that I'm using while having this kind of projects. So a few words about myself. Of course, I am a happy member of ACM Teams Europe user group. I'm very proud to be a part of this team. I'm ProSci change practitioner. I work in Predica as a consultant, mostly focused on adoption and change management projects about Teams, about Office 365, and so on. I do organize SharePoint Saturday Warsaw, and of course, I love Teams as a platform. Teams, oh, it's so great solution. So I try to spread the love to Teams every day. All right, what's the agenda of this part? So first of all, what is design thinking? I will try to explain you briefly what design thinking means. Then adoption change management team's journey. Then which design thinking methods in adoption and change management projects we can use. Then what is the value behind and how to manage these workshops or meetings remotely. And of course, at the end, if we have enough time, questions and answers. Of course, you can add the questions in a comment as well. All right, so let's start with the definition. What is design thinking? So design thinking is a method of creating innovations based in discovery and deep understanding of the client's needs. Actually, this is the way to get your team to thinking creatively, to understand their issues, to understand their problems, and then together to create a solution that will solve these problems in the future. In the meantime, we're building this solution, we're testing the solution, so everything comes from real life scenarios. There is a lot of companies that are using design thinking methods. For instance, they're using this method to design a new product or service, or at least redesign this product or service, or they design value added to the customer or to the user, or they are designing a, I don't know, customer new experience, or at least they are searching a new way of income. So there are different whys why the organizations are using design thinking. And for instance, in adoption and change management projects, we also can follow this approach. All right, so when we look at the design thinking methods, we have 5 stages. So first stage is called Empathize. So in here, we are trying to understand people motivations, people frustrations. We are trying to understand what are the people experiences. So empathy is really important in design thinking process. The next part is define. So in this step, we try to list all of the issues, all of the problems, all of the pain points we have currently in our company, for instance. The third step, it's an ideate. So in here, we are accelerating our creativity. We brainstorm how to find out a solution that will fix these problems, that will fix these pain points. The next step, it's a prototyping. So in design thinking approach, people, they are using physical materials to build the prototypes. You may assume that in teams, especially in current times, it's a bit hard to use these materials to create something. However, the prototyping part is just create the prototype of the solution that will be implemented in the future. And the last part, so testing, of course, we're testing, we're improving, we're trying to make more, to put more and more features, more value to the solution we just created before. All right, so design thinking benefits, just few of them. However, there are many of them. So we identified the real problem. So the users can really describe their problems coming from different areas of their daily work. So they really can express themselves. They can say, all right, this thingy doesn't work, this thingy doesn't work, that thingy should be better, and so on. Collaboration. So the great thing in design thinking workshops is a way that people who are meeting together, they are coming from different departments, they are coming from different, sometimes different sections, they have different experience, different positions. Thanks to that, first of all, they can meet each other and understand their problems, what kind of problems every department, every person has. Plus, it's also kind of engaging, kind of integration of these people. Define and test, so the users create the concept of the solution. So the solution, it's not a solution that somebody said that you should use Microsoft Teams for this and that. All right, there are kind of rules. However, the users, they can define that, in my case, my process should look like this or like that. Therefore, we can create this particular solution based on Teams, based on a real life scenario. I also say that thanks to that, and probably you know that in adoption change management projects, we quite often have a problem with resistance to change. So it means that people, they're afraid of change, right? They don't really want to do this first step. But in the scenario when they have a true influence on the solution they are building, true impact on the future, that this resistance to change is naturally lower. All right, so in here you can just see the companies that are using design thinking for innovation. We have, of course, Microsoft, but also big other players like Toyota, PepsiCo, Nike, and so on. All right, that was the first part. And let's move to the more concrete stuff. Adoption change management journey with Microsoft Teams. Here is an example of the journey that's right. So as you can see, in every adoption change management project, we have different steps. So the first one, quite often we meet and organize the team, we define the roles, responsibilities, and so on. We're preparing the working space. Then we start to recruit the champions, make a communication plan, other activities like preparing the education content and so on. Then we define the scenarios. So we are doing kind of analyze how this application, how Teams can be used internally. Then we're building a pilot solution. Of course, in the meantime, we have a train the trainer workshops. We're preparing the training materials and so on. Then on the next step, we engage the people. So we organize live events, we educate the people, we are organizing as the expert panels and so on and so on. And the question is, where the design thinking method can be used in adoption and change management journey. So my answer is in this step, define the scenarios. So in this place, we can use design thinking methods to help us to understand real customer needs. So what kind of scenarios, what kind of processes in Teams we can have in the future. Of course, the design thinking method also touches a little bit the next step, make it real. But hold on, I will show you in a while how to make it. All right, which design thinking methods in adoption and change management Teams projects? Let's start from the beginning. Let's assume that we are organized this kind of design thinking workshop in our adoption and change management project for Teams. And before we start the workshop, there are a few requirements before this meeting. So employees are getting an invitation for non-computer cell phone workshop. So it means that we don't let users to use other devices. We ask them to be ready to cooperate with us. Employees, they are coming from different departments. So more people, more experience means better creativity, better opinions, and so on. Employees with the different positions in the company are required. The maximum people in the group is 20 people. Actually, yeah, from my practice, it means that when it's more than 20, it's kind of mess. So we can easily manage this 20 people in one room. Employees are working for groups, 5 persons each. The workshop duration is about 4 hours plus break. And the post-its, so the sticky notes, markers, and whiteboards are needed. All right, so let's move to the next slide. In here, we are in design thinking stage Empathize. So in here, we're talking about the empathy. We are trying to start and motivate people for upcoming hours. The first step, so let's meet each other. Here are the 2 examples that I'm using during my workshop. So first of all, I ask the participants to introduce themselves by saying their name and role in the organization, plus adding an adjective that describes themselves, starting with the first letter of their first name. So example is here. I'm Edyta, consultant for ADKAR, responsible for adoption change management teams projects, like energetic. So then everyone is introducing this way. Another example of good exercise, it's a ego shower. So participants then stand in a circle one by one. They enter the center of the circle and they say something trivial. So I brushed my teeth today. And the other participants reward this person with a kind of applause. Yay, you are so great, you made it. So the idea behind is just to build kind of a relaxed atmosphere, just to anyhow activate people's brain to be ready for upcoming exercises. So, all right, we are here, we're talking, we're meeting each other. We don't think about our daily tasks. We are just ready for creative work. The next stage, is define. So in this stage, people are divided in groups, 4 or 5 people in a group. And for a few minutes, they are generating they are defining the problems, the challenges, the issues and the current challenges they're having at work. The idea behind is just to let users to speak out loud what is painful for them, no matter what kind of problems they are. Quite often they are saying, all right, too many emails, onboarding process is weak, and so on and so on. But also they have the ideas like our kitchen is too small, or something else, or something else. So in here, we're just focused to ask people to ask about the problems, what kind of problems appear. In here, the people, they are defining the pain points, the everyday pain points they have. On the next step, I'm presenting the Microsoft Teams capabilities. So this is my part, my show, 20 to 30 minute show, where I'm explaining people what is Microsoft Teams is, how they can use Microsoft Teams. I'm creating before kind of scenario, kind of neutral scenario, so understandable for everyone, to show the power of the application, right? So they are watching very often for the very first time Microsoft Teams, and this is the impression, this is the first meeting with the application itself. What's next? Next is the stage define and ideate. So in this stage, we are narrowing the problems that can be solved by teams. So as I said, we were generating the problems, and some of them, they are not relevant, so they can't be solved by teams. With this kitchen, maybe in the future, let's see what Microsoft will bring to us. However, in here, we're focusing on the problems that can be solved by teams. And after selection, selection, we group the problems by type. So in here, we have a communication, for example, onboarding, remote work, too many mails, and so on. So the users, they are just narrowing these problems and then name these problems by type. The next stage is ideate. So in here, we brainstorm a lot. So we already have the problems, specified problems in our mind. And right now, we brainstorm how Microsoft Teams can be used in our organization. So looking at the problems and knowing a little bit the application itself, we are generating the ideas how to take the most from Microsoft Teams in our organization. And quite often, different ideas are coming. I just listed 3 of them. So platform for onboarding process, marketing projects managed in Microsoft Teams, platform for communication with first-line workers, but of course, a lot of different scenarios appear in participants' heads. What is next? So next is make it real in Microsoft Teams, so prototype and test. As you remember, we already had problems. We found out kind of solutions, kind of ways how to use Microsoft Teams internally. And right now we are focusing on the details. So on the left side, you can see the example of onboarding process. So I was sitting together with the customer and we were defining the process itself. So what kind of steps, what kind of components, what kind of things should be included in this process? Then, while having this onboarding process from the employee side, we are focusing on the HR team. So, what kind of tools HR team should have in this process? What are they doing, and so on. So, in this part, we are brainstorming, but also kind of looking at the details, how this process, how this space should look in the future. And then we transform the ideas to Microsoft Teams environment. So it's a real case. So we are just putting everything together and trying to build, based on our notes, the working scenario in Microsoft Teams. Then we ask the users, the participants, to test them, to give the feedback, to polish this environment to be ready for the future implementation. And you may ask me, what is the value of this approach in adoption change management teams projects? So first of all, engagement. So we are building engagement and understanding the employees' real needs, challenges, and expectations. These people, they are really engaged because they can see and feel the power of their opinion in the future project. Real life cases, so building the custom live Teams usage scenarios which solve the true business problems, not suggested ones. So this is also very important that we are using real life Teams scenarios. Of course, there are many on the market that we can just copy paste, but we know that every organization is different. Therefore, it's really important to pay attention on real life Teams usage scenarios, not the fake ones, not the recommended ones, because everyone is different. So like each organization is different. So it's important to have real life Teams usage scenarios. And the last one, training. So when we have these scenarios, it's a great beginning for preparing the other activities that are in our plans. So we already have an environment for train the trainer workshops. We have environment for champions training. We have also an environment ready to go for global training. So we already did a job that could be very helpful for the future adoption change management activities. All right, and the last question, is it possible to manage design thinking workshop remotely? Actually, when Corona has started, yeah, it was a kind of good question. I asked myself, what's now, Eddie? What's now? How to make these workshops remotely, because it's not easy. But I found a way. This is the way that works on my side. So let me show you. Yes, it is possible. Of course, there are some conditions to be covered, as you can see. But we can use Teams also as an environment for having team design thinking workshops. Of course, in here I'm using Teams, I'm using Planner, Mastermind, and OneNote. And this workshop is dedicated mostly for the customers that are using Teams. So they're having Teams, but using mostly for chat, for meetings. They don't really care about this collaboration part. I just created the team called Design Thinking Workshop. As you can see, there are different channels. So in general, here are 4 channels. For every group, it's a dedicated channel. And the people, they are generating the ideas by using the planner. So for instance, we are having the bucket here, problems. So as you remember, we're generating the problems, issues, and so on. Then we're narrowing the problems, selecting the problems, then ideas, and then which of them are the best to be solved by teams. So of course, as you can see, it's possible. There are also other methods like meeting rooms. Right now, this is what I'm going to test in the near future. However, I would say, yeah, with Teams, everything is possible. The question is how your customer or how your organization is working with Teams right now. If they don't have Teams, it could be a problem. There are some solutions like these meeting rooms. If your organization is using Teams, but mostly for chats and meetings, then we can use application Teams as a platform for having this kind of workshop. All right, questions?
We have to wait a second for the questions because we have a little delay on this.
All right.
Okay, I think we should go on.
All right, if there are no questions, that's great.
It was a great job what you did.
Thank you, Alex. So just the last slide. Thank you for joining and start your design thinking journey today. So if you have any questions, just find me on LinkedIn or follow me on Twitter and we can stay in touch.
Here's
All right,
a question.
stop sharing.
Have a look at the screen. There's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it?
Let me check. Mm-hmm.
How do you see design thinking tools to support train the trainer?
How do I see the design? Actually, it's not a direct impact. So as I was presenting on the slide, what is the value? I wrote that when we are creating these scenarios based on design thinking methods, then we have ready to go environment to be used for train the trainer. So therefore, it's just a tool to create environment as a demo for future trainings. I don't really see this currently, so maybe I should think deeper how to use Microsoft, how to use design thinking tools in this particular case.
One more we have. One problem I've come across in ideation meetings, workshops, and teams is fluidly with your planner use case. How quick, fluid is it for users to give ideas?
One problem I have come across the ideation meetings, workshops, and teams is fluidity, which with your planner use case, how quick, fluid. I don't really get these questions. Maybe you know, do.
I mean, I could say that I think it's really easy to add new words into Planner, but so I mean, it is quick to add new ideas, but then I don't have the knowledge of design thinking, so I'm not sure. Chris, is that what you were thinking about?
Yeah, so we are just adding the planner to every channel, so for every group, and then we're creating this buckets. We call them problems, we call them selected problems, ideas, and scenarios, and then the users that are working in the same group by using the same planner, they are just adding the ideas as a task. So I'm not sure if I answered your question. However, it's very easy to add a planner as a tab and then just customize a little bit the view for the group work.
Okay, well, Edyta, that was a really interesting session. I think I have a lot to think about when we're ending the call today. So really, really nice to hear. So that was it for today, and I learned a lot of new things. At least, hope you did too. So don't forget to go in here, use the QR code or the website to give us feedback. We love to hear what we can do better. And as Karoliina said previously in the chat, to have more deep dives on ADKAR, not just the basic level. And also about that, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, ACM Teams, and also follow us on YouTube, ACM Teams Europe. And now we're going to give you a little bit of a nugget for next time. So our next meeting is Tuesday, the 17th of October. It's the same time, and we have a theme for that meet, and that is the differences in ACM in European countries. So that will be very exciting. And for the first time, we're also bringing other people than ourselves. So we have a nice line of guest star speakers that will join us in November. So hope that you will join us. So I think that was it for today. Thank you, Alex, Karoliina, Edyta. Nice to see you as always. Michael from home. And thank you for everybody who's joined. Talk to you in a month and reach out on our social medias if you have something before that.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.